Hello, we're David and Margaret Eubanks. I became president of Johnson Bible College, now Johnson University, in January of 1969. At that time, I resigned my ministry at the Woodlawn Christian Church, where I had served 12 and a half years. We continued to worship at Woodlawn for a few years, but during that time, Margaret kept saying, we need a new church at Seymour. Seymour was at that time one of the fastest growing communities in the state of Tennessee. So in July of 1974, we issued an invitation. And so we had a meeting on our front porch at the White House at Johnson. In September, we made some arrangement with the Blunt National Bank to meet in a community room there for worship, and they had two other rooms we could use for a Sunday school. We had our first meeting October the 6th, 1974. Bill Blevins did the preaching. Lavelle Richardson led the worship. Ben Lutz had the communion meditation. Larry and Carol and Laura Roy handled the Bible school. During the next months of September and October and November, the group grew, and we had averaged, I think it was 48 in Sunday school and 54 in worship.
I'm Peggy Blevins, and I have been here for 50 years with this church because I was there at the beginning. What a day it was. We had come from the Woodlawn Church, and it was hard leaving. All of our people had come from different churches, Woodlawn and Gap Creek, and two from a church in Bearden. And we were just blessed with these people. And I know it was not an easy transition for them, but they were willing to do it. And God blessed them and blessed us as a result. Well, my husband, Bill, was the first preacher. And he, of course, enjoyed preaching. Bill prepared sermons for every Sunday and Wednesday night. And we were blessed with these lovely people who had been faithful in helping start the church, and they were always in attendance. Bill and I did some calling for the church, and we always tried to call on people who were not attending church anywhere else, because we were not trying to pull people from other churches. But one of the families that stand out to me were the Masterson family. And we talked to them about the church and inviting them to attend. And now they had 3 children at the time. They had 3 little girls. And the thing I want to emphasize is they have been faithful to the church even today. And it thrills me to think back on them and when we were in their house, inviting them and telling them about the church. So it makes you feel like that a lot of good came from those early days. We were able, through the church, not only to meet all the demands of our church, but we were able to branch out and support missionaries. I don't know even who mentioned supporting missionaries, but someone in our group did. The first ones were John and Benita Pryor, and I guess I'm a little prejudiced because Benita is our daughter.
Hi, I'm Carol Bosding. I was born and raised in Northeast Iowa, and in 1973, my husband and I and our 3 young daughters moved to Seymour. We visited several Christian churches in the area and ended up becoming active in the Gap Creek Christian Church, where I taught Sunday school. My husband was an elder. Our oldest daughter was baptized there, and we very much enjoyed that. But in 1974, we learned that Dr. and Mrs. Eubanks were wanting to see if there was enough interest to start a Christian church in Seymour. And when we heard that, we were all in, because we had been part of new church work in Iowa, so it just seemed natural that we would be interested in something like this. And so we attended the first meetings, and I guess after that you could just say, you know, that's the way it started, and the rest is history. Well, it's been obviously quite a journey. The horse stable that was on the property was renovated into a worship building by volunteer work. From there, we added classrooms, downstairs area, basement area that could be used for a fellowship hall and kitchen. And then we moved on to adding a new sanctuary. It's just been so heartwarming to see through the years all the development and the cooperation and all the things that went into getting to the point we are now. I've had a long history of teaching, nursery work. It's been a great life of being able to help where I could, and so I guess that was where I felt like I fit in.
Hi, I'm Dan Calhoun, and I came to Seymour Heights Christian Church when I was 8 years old in 1980, and we family came here because my dad was hired to be the preacher, and we liked the church so much that when he resigned from the ministry, we stayed here. So I've grown up in this church. It's all been my home church since then, and yeah, just really enjoy being a part of Seymour Heights and watching it grow, and watching the people in Seymour Heights grow. All of my favorite things about Seymour Heights is the people. The Sunday school teachers that I've had, youth leaders, friends. The people are what the church is, and that's the way it's supposed to be. It's not the building. We're blessed with an amazing building. From starting in a horse barn, which was what we were in when I came, to adding the section the youth and children use now, and then eventually the classroom that's used for a lot of the community things here. And then when the process of tearing down the old so that the new could be built, because it was too hard to bring the old up to the standards. Yeah, we had all that building stuff going on, but it was the people still that made the church work. It's interesting to talk with new people coming in and find out, hey, what drew you to Seymour Heights? And so many of them, it's like, man, we just feel welcome when we come in the door. It's always the people that keep people here.
I'm Bob Berry, and I have with me my daughter and my son. We arrived at Seymour Heights back in 1981 on a hot July summer day.
Dad was a bit of an innovator, and he kind of shook things up a little bit. It didn't take long for him to get rid of all the hymnals and start singing scripture choruses, first printed out on bulletins that we would have to fold every Saturday night. Here, fold the bulletins.
We used to put on the top of the bulletin, these are the songs we may sing.
Yeah, the order of service was out the window. It was just like, here's some suggestions for things we might do, but at least we had the bulletin, because that was that security everybody still needed.
My wife, Donna Sue, who's passed on to be with the Lord in heaven, she was an innovator herself. And when we came to Seymour, she immediately started thinking of ministries that would reach out to the community.
The church is not just an institution, not just the preacher and the staff. It is the body of Christ, and it takes everyone is the church. You know, we are the church. It's not just staff or the preacher or the elders. It's everyone.
We're Mark and Angie Aubrey, and we moved to Seymour in February of 1996. We moved down here for jobs. Mark went to work for a software company in South Knoxville, and I came to work here at the church. Initially, I was hired as the secretary, and I worked part-time. And then in 2000, so 4 years later, I became the worship director of the church and did that until July of 2021. So I worked here for quite a number of years. One of the greatest joys that I had in those years working were the years that I was able to work with my dad, Jim Knowles, who was on staff at the church.
Moving down to an area that I wasn't familiar with, to a church where I didn't know a lot of people outside of family, I found both the area and the church to be very welcoming. And it was good. We found our niche, we found our place to serve.
And it's not just the music that the worship music that we sang, but years of choir, adult choir, teen choir, creative arts camp, doing crazy musicals with kids, and now seeing their children involved. It's a little bit humbling when you realize that you're getting older, because your kids that you helped, that you watched grow up, they're now having kids of their own. But it's an exciting thing to see, and it's that legacy of family and music and faith, and those three things are so important. So that's kind of been what this experience at Seymour Heights has meant for us.
Hi, I'm Amanda Hall, and I've been at Seymour Heights since 1997. I was baptized in 2002 by Jim Knowles. I was in 3rd grade, and that's when the church was half the size it was now, and the current youth room was actually the sanctuary. I really started seeing my relationship with God grow on a personal level when we were on these youth group trips, and when we would have that direct interaction with the kids and being a light to them. My mom, she sang on stage with the worship team. I remember her and Cindy and Patty and Suzanne Graves up there singing, and Bob and Sue Berry on Sundays. And I remember 4 Tickets to Christmas, the musicals that they would do. And I think it's awesome that I am now too on stage being a part of the worship ministry and using my voice that I would say I got from my mom, using my voice to share Christ through that and having that gift. And it's also great to watch my kids grow up in church, because there's been a lot of times in my life where I may have strayed away from Christ, and I didn't go to church as often, but because my mom brought me to church, she instilled in me their relationship with Christ. That never goes away.